I bet you can't crack this case. But if you do, you're a true mastermind. It was the night of the grand gala, a gathering of the city's elite in the dazzling ballroom of the Golden Crown Hotel. Laughter and music spilled through the hall until a sudden scream silenced everything. In the adjoining room, Mr. Hampton, the wealthy businessman, lay lifeless with a shattered wine glass near his hand and the scent of bitter almonds in the air. Detective Wilde surveyed the scene and, noting the key things, at the scene were 3 potential suspects. Mrs. Lorna, Hampton's business partner, had a motive: a recent falling out over an investment gone wrong and money lost. She was still clutching a velvet shawl, one end stained with wine. Then there was Mark, the hotel's sommelier or waiter in charge of wine, who looked pale as he recounted. His nervous stutter made him seem guilty, yet no one saw him leave the wine cellar. Lastly, young Emily, Hampton's niece, stood with wide, tearful eyes. She had fought with her uncle earlier that evening, witnesses recalled. "Detective, I only handed Mr. Hampton the glass," Mark insisted, trembling. "The wine tasted fine earlier," Mrs. Lorna said, casting a suspicious glance at Emily. Detective Wilde studied the scene: the broken glass, the faint scent of almonds, and the damp shawl. He noticed an overlooked detail: a half-empty bottle by the bar labeled "Rare Vintage," but sealed with a broken cork. The clues clicked. "I know who killed Mr. Hampton," Detective Wilde said. How Detective Wilde find the killer? Who is the culprit? 1. Mrs. Lorna, the business partner. 2. Mark, the sommelier. 3. Emily, the niece. 4. Mr. Hampton himself, in a tragic accident. How Detective Wilde find the killer? Who is the culprit? Be the first to know. Subscribe now for the next video update.